What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. And yes, we are doing our preview video here for the Forbidden Door from AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling coming up this Sunday. And yes, now the Forbidden Door is finally open. And I'll be getting into the card and what I'm looking forward to and all of that good stuff. And some of the controversy and some of the stories that are starting to come out about why this thing has been the way it's been in this build over the last 4 weeks. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that, of course, I also have a channel called Wrestling with Finance, and I am going to the Forbidden Door. I'm leaving in about 6 hours to get on a plane to go to Chicago, and I'll be there over the weekend and be at Forbidden Door on Sunday live to see it in person. And I was able to do that without paying for airfare and without paying for the hotel room. And I did tell you guys on Twitter, who do follow me on Twitter, if you want to know how I do that, some of the stuff is on my Wrestling with Finance channel, but I will be doing a specific video for that. So subscribe to my Wrestling with Finance channel, and you can take advantage of some of the ways I did that by looking down in the description box below. But that's for a later time. That's for this weekend, and that's for the Wrestling with Finance channel. But right now, let's talk about Forbidden Door, the card, and all the stuff that goes along with it. So first and foremost, as you guys know, last week I had a video that was called, "Is the Forbidden Door Really Open?" Forbidden Door? Forbidden Door. Can I say that right? Is the Forbidden Door really open? And I went on to talk about how at that time, not just only a few days ago, we had a lot of people who were synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestling that were not on this card, and it was looking kind of suspicious as to whether or not they were going to be on the card. Now, since then, we've had not only 4 matches announced for the main card, but we've had 3 matches for the buy-in, and most of those matches are including wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling. We even got Yoshihashi, of all people, to be in the buy-in on the Forbidden Door show. So that's pretty cool for him. I'm happy for him, friend. I'm happy for a lot of the guys that I was hoping to see on the show, and some of them made it onto the main card. El Phantasmo, who I have been raving about on this channel for about a year or so now, saying he is, just this far away from being the next big major star in crossover. I think he's got a lot of the tools. Again, there is a lot of him that's a little bit of X-Pac, there's a little bit of Kenny Omega, it's a little bit of a lot of different wrestlers in him. He's in that same vein, and I think it's only a matter of time for him to get there. But let's talk about the card so far. So let's start with that. El Phantasmo will be teaming up with Hikuleo of the Bullet Club as the Young Bucks rejoin Bullet Club for one night to take on a team. There's so much history packed into this match, actually, to take on a team called Dudes with Attitudes, which is Sting and Darby Allin teaming in with, yes, we have some Los Ingobernables de Japón members. I talked about this on the last video. How do you have a New Japan show without LIJ on it? We do have Hiromu Takahashi, one of the most popular wrestlers in New Japan, and Shingo Takagi teaming with Sting and Darby Allin. Hiromu and Darby Allin is a match that I did want to see eventually at one of these Forbidden Door shows. And in addition to that, more history here. Again, Young Bucks teaming up with Bullet Club. They're also teaming up with the guy who seems to be in El Phantasmo, the next heir apparent, Kenny Omega. And the name Dudes of Attitudes, this is an old school cut, was a name that Sting used for a 4-man team in his group when he was in WCW in 1990 going for the World Championship. So I love those little nuances. I love those little, it's for, again, not for the casual wrestling fan. It's for the wrestling fans who actually are real hardcore fans and have been following this stuff for a long time and love this stuff. And, I know this is one thing, I'm going to talk about this right now. There are a lot of people, especially with this Forbidden Door show in general, in the wrestling community, of the online community, who are poo-pooing the show. And we don't know these people, we don't know that people. Look, it's like everything else. It's like every TV show. TV shows introduce new characters. You start watching new TV shows. You get introduced to new universes. When you first watched Harry Potter, you didn't know what Muggles were. You didn't know who Snape was, what Dumbledore was, what Gryffindor. You didn't know any of that stuff. When you first started watching Star Wars, you didn't know what the Force was, or the dark side of the Sith, or the TIE fighters and all the different space. When you started watching even Law and Order, you didn't know all of the characters in Law and Order. Same thing with Game of Thrones. Same thing with Walking Dead. Everything else. Every time you come into a new show, you don't know the characters. But if you're coming into a new show that's already existed and there's already a fan base to it, you can tell from the fan base who the major stars are and who are not. For some reason in the wrestling world, and I think this is a WWE influence from them having a monopoly for 19 years, and the way that they approach wrestling, which is if it doesn't exist in the WWE universe, it doesn't exist at all and it doesn't matter. And that is a hindrance to the wrestling community. And something like this, and hopefully most of the AEW fans are approaching this like we approach everything else, like I mentioned before. If there's an existing universe and you're coming into it, you don't need to go, well, God, these are nobodies because I don't know them and the people I hang out with don't know them. There are millions of people who know who these guys are. They know Hiroshi Tanahashi. They know Kazuchika Okada. They know Zack Sabre Jr. They know Will Ospreay. Well, it's not that, it is that many. Around the world, maybe not in the United States, but around the world, there are a lot of people, millions of people who know who these guys are, have watched them wrestle before in many continents around the world. So this whole, well, we don't know who these people are, it's time for you to get to know them. That's what the point of the Forbidden Door show is, in part, is for you to get to know some of these amazing talents, and they are amazing talents because me and a lot of other people have been watching them for years, and now you're getting to see them for the first time. The better way to approach it is not, oh, this is only for wrestling nerds and marks and all that BS, but go, approach it like when you first started watching wrestling, period. Like, when you didn't know Roman Reigns was years ago when you first started watching wrestling and you came to get to know who he was and all the other stars on that roster. Same thing with AEW, same thing here with New Japan. But enough of me on that soapbox there. So let's go on for the rest of the card. Of course, we had the match with Minoru Suzuki teaming up with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara to take on Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta. And that's, again, those are two very weirdly combined tag teams. I'm fully expecting Suzuki to maybe do a bit of a face turn, not really, but to kind of get sick of Sammy Guevara at some point in time and beat the crap out of him. I'm kind of expecting that to happen in this match, but we'll see. They could just do this as a straight match and focus more on Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, who tonight on Rampage continued their rivalry. So we'll see what happens with that. We also have this one is one that a lot of people are looking forward to. Zack Sabre Jr. will be taking on now a mystery opponent. Now, originally this was supposed to be Bryan Danielson. Danielson did come out on Wednesday night for Dynamite and said that he was still injured. He wasn't cleared to wrestle, but he was getting somebody to take his place. And the two leading names that I'll see a lot of fans saying is Claudio, who's formerly known as Cesaro in WWE, which would make a lot of sense for the Blackpool Combat Club, and other people are talking about Johnny Gargano. I'm kind of leaning more towards Claudio because of the fact, just who he is, his history, his style, and yeah, I might not be getting a dream match between Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., but you know what else is a dream match? Zack Sabre Jr. versus Claudio, a.k.a. Cesaro. So if that's what's happening Sunday, color me happy. Of course, we have the AEW Women's Championship match. You have Toni Storm taking on Thunder Rosa. That should be an interesting match. I hate to say it's going to be the P-Break match for a lot of people, but I think it will be. They've done a decent job in building the match, but again, the AEW Women's Division just can't seem to find that gear to, be must-see on the card, so we'll see what happens with that. For the Ring of Honor and the IWGP Tag Team Championships, there is a three-way between the IWGP Tag Team Champions, which are the representatives of the United Empire, the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, who recently just won those belts at Dominion. They will be taking on the Roppongi 3K, who are not champions, but are multi-time former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions. And they will also be taking on, of course, FTR, who are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, and a winner takes all. So at the end of this match, either you're going to wind up with Roppongi 3K, the United Empire, or FTR holding on the championships. My money's kind of on FTR. But then this is going to be something interesting with these title matches. If you get a guy from the opposite company winning the title matches, then that means that FTR, if they win the IWGP Tag Team Championships, they're going to have to travel to Japan at some point in time to defend those titles. And don't forget, too, they're also the Triple A Tag Team Champions. So if there's one thing that FTR can do to solidify its legacy as one of the greatest tag teams of all time, they're doing it here and winning all those championships. It's holding them all at the same time. I think it's not since the Steiner Brothers has there been a team that was collecting belts like this. So I think this match might be better than people think it's going to be. Only time will tell, but I think the outcome is more interesting than probably the match itself. For the IWGP US Championship, Will Ospreay will be defending the title, not necessarily the belt, against Orange Cassidy. Now, I'm fully expecting Juice Robinson to show up at this. Juice Robinson, the storyline is, for those of you who don't follow New Japan, Will Ospreay won the championship a couple weeks ago at their Dominion show from Sonata. That match was to fill the vacancy for the U.S. Championship because Juice Robinson legitimately had his appendix out and he couldn't make it to Japan to defend the championship, so New Japan stripped him of the title, but Juice never gave the belt back. Juice is in the States. So this show's happening in the States. I fully kind of expect, it's been a couple weeks now. I think it's like 2 to 4 weeks for you to recover from appendix surgery. So I think Juice is probably going to show up and they're probably going to have the championship. That could be very, very interesting on many fronts. And also don't forget, Tony Storm's on the show, and Juice Robinson and Tony Storm just recently got married. Congratulations to them, by the way. So that would be kind of cool to see some sort of combination there with those guys. The All-Atlantic Championship, which is a brand new championship in All Elite Wrestling, that will be defended, will be crowned. The first champion will be crowned in this Fatal 4-Way. Now, Tomohiro Ishii has been injured, so he will not be at the show. So unfortunately, we're not going to get Miro facing off of Ishii, which I was looking forward to. But Clark Connors, this is a big moment for him to kind of shine. This is a huge moment, actually, for Clark Connors. He's going to be in there with some of the three of the best in the business, Pac, Malachi Black, and Miro. And funny enough, those are three former WWE guys. All three of those guys. And here against Clark Connors. So he's rubbing some shoulders. This for the Rhino, this is some big spot for him, and I'm pulling for Clark Connors to make a good showing. I don't think he's going to win the championship, but I'm really pulling for him to make a good showing in this match. And now it makes me kind of wonder, I can't really pick who's going to win this match. I figured it had to be somebody from AEW. Miro is kind of who I'm leaning to, but I will also like to see Pac get this as well. Two double main events. One's for the AEW Interim Championship, which is Jon Moxley taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. Of course, the title was vacated by CM Punk. Well, not vacated. CM Punk is injured. He's still officially the AEW champion, but while he's injured, there's going to be an interim champion. I cannot see Tanahashi winning this match, because Tanahashi is going to be in the G1 tournament, which, again, if you're not a New Japan fan, that's a 4-week tournament in Japan. It's the most grueling. I'll be talking a lot about it on this channel, so subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because the G1 is probably one of the greatest things in all. It's one of my favorite things in all of wrestling every single year, and that's coming up next month. So Tanahashi's going to be in Japan for a month, wrestling really, really, really high-level matches in New Japan for a month. He's not going to be around. You're basically going to have two vacant champions. You're going to have CM Punk injured, and you're going to have Tanahashi in Japan. So I'm kind of thinking that Jon Moxley's going to win this match. But the match itself should be outstanding, and it's a one that they've been alluding to, like they said, for 2 or 3 years. Moxley's been calling out Tanahashi. Tanahashi, interestingly enough, said that he hasn't been ducking Jon Moxley. It's just taking this long for Moxley to get up to his level. That was a sick burn from Tanahashi, man. I like that kind of confidence from him, but he is the ace of New Japan. I mean, if you compare careers and forget about, the perception of you being a fan in the States and the perception of fans in Japan, if you take them and both being equal, it is kind of true. Hiroshi Tanahashi, for his universe, has done a lot more in his career than Jon Moxley has. Not by much, but Tanahashi, as many people know, he kind of carried New Japan on its back when New Japan was about to go bankrupt. A lot of people credit Tanahashi with saving the company and carrying on his back. Jon Moxley hasn't been in that position so much. So, but I do consider them to be kind of even stars right now, and I do think Moxley's going to win this match. The other one is for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The defending champion, Jay White, will be taking on Kazuchika Okada, who made the surprise appearance this past Wednesday on Dynamite after they swerved us and said that he wasn't going to be there, which also, that's making me wonder about that MJF thing now, about him not showing up at FanFest. Because if they pulled that for this show, saying Okada wasn't going to be there and he did show up, is it out of the realm of possibility now that they might have done this? I kind of a swerve. They got to watch that stuff. I kind of don't like that. But anyway, that's another story for another time. So it's Okada, Jay White. They're going to be in there with Adam Cole and Adam Page. I love the story here. You have four top tier main event wrestlers of the past 5 years. If you really look at the four guys in this match, of course, they're from different divisions. Adam Cole still, to me, is kind of an NXT guy, and he was one of the best NXT champions. Hangman Page was a standout AEW champion, even though, some people think his title reign wasn't that exciting. I do think that he does qualify as being one of the better ones better AEW champions. I certainly liked his reign personally. Kazuchika Okada, of course, is the gold standard. In my opinion, he was the best world champion of any world champion in the 2010s. And Jay White, who had his pedigree built to be a major player and a main event star and a world champion. I think those 4 guys could put on a hell of a match. I'm looking forward to it on Sunday. Again, I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm going to have to kind of think that Jay White's going to retain, but they could do a lot of stuff. And again, like I said, with these title matches, when you got guys from different promotions, I have a feeling somebody on this card is going to win the champion. Well, obviously, it's going to happen with the tag team match. But maybe some of these other ones, whether it's Orange Cassidy, the All-Atlantic Championship, maybe Clark Connors pulls it out. What happened? I don't think Tanahashi's winning the IWGP Championship, but there is a possibility that Hangman Page could win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but we're going to have to wait and see on that. Then we got the pre-show matches. We got QT Marshall and Aaron Solo taking on, I can't believe it, they're taking on Bushimon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi managed to get through the Forbidden Door. Ain't that a damn thing? Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland taking on El Desperado and Kanemaru. I think that match is more about Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, because I would have rather seen Keith Lee against, I would have rather had a match between Keith Lee and Goto than this, but I think this is more, again, this is on the pre-show. It's not a feature match. They haven't built to it, so fine. And I think, again, the focus of this is really on the burgeoning feud between Strickland and Keith Lee. And the Gun Club, along with Max Caster, will be taking on some of the LA Dojo guys, which should be another good opening match. So you got a lot of matches on this card, a lot of intrigue on this card. And I will say this, as skeptical as I was about the card about 6 days ago, I think in this last couple of days, they pulled it off. And I was skeptical. I was watching Dynamite on Wednesday with my arms crossed going, I don't know, are they going to pull this out? And then little by little, they started revealing what the rest of the card was. And as soon as I heard Hiromu was on it, and Shingo was on it, and Okada showed up, and all this other cool stuff they did, I gotta say now I'm really excited to be getting on a plane in a couple hours, heading to Chicago and watching the Forbidden Door live. But I want to know what you guys think about this card. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. And I would be remiss to say that I did a little digging. I usually don't do digging, but I have one source that tells me stuff sometimes through email. And from what I heard, most of the Forbidden Door matches were not solidified until like Monday or Tuesday. So that's the main reason why we don't know, and we haven't heard, and we haven't seen a lot of build towards this card, because it's been a lot of moving parts. I think they said the only match that was pretty much guaranteed for this card was the women's championship match. Everything else, they've been like moving people around and figuring out stuff. Injuries definitely play a part of that. Politics play a part of that, because apparently Andrade was supposed to be on this show. And I think the rumor was he was supposed to he was either going to take on Will Ospreay, or he was going to take on somebody else in a singles match. And I think he was also supposedly going to be in the All-Atlantic Championship match as well. But that got nixed. That's just what I heard. This is rumors and conjecture. It's not confirmed or anything. But it sounds legit. It doesn't surprise me, given how the build has been to the show, the way it is. So I can forgive it. I would love to hear more about what the backstory is on how this card took shape, because it seems like it was a Herculean task to get this thing to this point, and literally the last minute, get this card up to snuff, to something that now it seems like everybody's kind of going, okay, this is a good card. But we'll talk about that, of course, after the show. I will be doing reviews of the show from Chicago, and I will be back here, of course, next week to continue all the news, rumors, and commentary here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.